thunder of jets in an open sky, a streak of gray, and a cheerful...
A loop, a whirl, and a vertical climb, and once again you'll know it's time for the adventures of Rocky and Bullwinkle and friends.
Starring that supersonic speedster, Rocket J. Squirrel, with his pal Bullwinkle the Moose, and a host of others.
Hurry, Bullwinkle! The show's about to start!
I'm coming as fast as I can.
Wave to the people!
Yay!
Now what are you doing?
Signing autographs. Let's see. John Smith.
But your name is Bullwinkle!
I know, but that's hard to spell.
We're gonna have a lot of fun! Come on and join us!
Sure, there's always room for one more.
Well, sir, our heroes are still in a slump in their efforts to bring back a mooseberry bush. For in our last episode, the wily Boris disguised himself as a plant inspector and sprayed the last mooseberry bush in the country. When the cloud of spray was gone, so was the inspector and so was the bush.
Boy, that's what I call a powerful spray. Didn't leave leaf nor whisker of either of them.
Well, there goes our last chance of getting a mooseberry bush back to Washington.
You mean...
Yeah, we failed. What's that?
Oh, it's just some Injuns gone by in a canoe.
But if that canoe had been closer, the boys would have seen that it didn't hold Indians at all, but Boris and Natasha, and between them, the mooseberry bush. But Rocky and Bullwinkle were too concerned with how to get back to Washington.
Can't fly back. Our planes crashed.
Check.
Can't walk back. Takes too long.
Check.
Can't go by boat. Haven't got a boat.
Check. Wait a minute. Sure, we got a boat.
We have?
Yeah, right up in that fir tree.
Oh, sure, Rocky. Poor kid's been in the woods too long. He's fur crazy.
No, look.
Rocky, that's our wrecked aeroplane.
Not for long. Come on.
And so a short time later...
You see, Natasha? It's like taking candy from baby.
You know, darling, I have funny feeling we're being followed.
Followed? Who could follow us? We stole the only canoe on the river. It's just
Sure enough, they were being followed. Rocky and Bullwinkle had turned their smashed aeroplane into a boat, and the plane's propellers made excellent double-bladed paddles.
They're gaining on us.
Like taking candy from baby, huh?
You ever tried to take candy from baby? It's pretty hard.
But Rocky and Bullwinkle, with no telescope, didn't know that they were so close to their goal. They'd have been even more dejected had they known what was coming, for just around the next bend in the river, Boris was planning a rather unpleasant surprise.
There, these should get rid of those two idiots.
But your last instructions say do not kill moose.
Who's killing moose? I'm just chopping down tree. It's my fault he happens to be underneath.
Shh, here they come.
And Boris started the huge tree on its way down.
You aren't even going to holler timber?
Of course I am. Listen. Timber.
Hokey smoke, Bullwinkle. Look.
The enormous tree hurtled down at our heroes. But unfortunately for Boris, it was just a little too big. It fell all the way across the river and hit a cliff on the other side. But the force of its falling snapped it in two, and half the tree drove through the bottom of Rocky's makeshift canoe.
We're leaking, Rocky. How are we going to get rid of that thing?
We're not, Bullwinkle. That's a mast.
With pine cones on it?
Sure. The wind blowing through the tree makes it act like a big sail.
Well, I'll be a moose.
You are a moose.
Yeah, I wanted something easy.
We'll be in Washington in no time.
Yup, if we don't sink first.
So with Rocky in the crow's nest and Bullwinkle at the tiller, the strange craft sped down the river.
Natasha, this requires quick thinking and positive action.
What we're going to do?
Run like rabbits. Come on.
And a moment later, Boris's canoe started downriver with a furious burst of speed.
Faster, Natasha, faster. Stroke, stroke, stroke.
And so began the strangest boat race ever held, the cross-country canoe contest from Minnesota to Washington, D.C. Will our boys catch up with the spies before their sort of boat sort of sinks? Don't miss our next episode, Canoes Who, or Look Before You Leak.
And now,
Hey, Rocky, watch me pull a rabbit out of my hat.
again,
Nothing up my sleeve. Presto! No doubt about it. I gotta get another hat.
now here's something we hope you'll really like.
Once upon a time, there was a miller's daughter named Gladys who would spin straw all day long and sit up nights thinking of how she would like to be famous. Night after night, she would think of all the things she wanted to be. But as for figuring out a way to be them, Gladys was at a loss.
Oh, to be famous.
Just then, a strange little man appeared before her.
Little lady, I can make you famous overnight.
Who are you?
I am what is known as a PR man.
PR man?
Public relations, my dear. Public relations. It is my business to glamorize the unglamorous. In my hands, the pedestrian becomes splendorous, the prosaic resplendent. What do you do, baby?
Oh, I spin straw.
That's it. You spin straw.
So?
Don't interrupt. It's coming.
What?
The idea, the spark. I got it. You spin straw into gold.
Yeah, but I can't spin
Doesn't
straw.
matter. I'll do the thinking. Now I'll just contact the trades.
But wait.
Just leave it to me, please.
And so it happened that overnight Gladys did become famous. Of course, nobody had ever seen the gold, but through the PR man's magic, and since it had appeared in all the papers, the people believed it. All of them, everyone. Even the king.
Gold out of straw? Bring that girl here!
And so Gladys appeared before the king.
I understand you spin.
Not only do I spin, but I am the best spinner in your entire kingdom. I am so good.
That you spin straw into gold, right? Well, I'm going to put you into a room full of my very best straw and have you spin me a room full of your very best gold.
But-
Of course, if you can't, you'll be locked forever in my darkest dungeon.
Oh.
Not so fast, king boy. Release that girl. My client is not giving gold away, you know. However, she will spin for you one room full of gold on one condition. That if she does, she automatically becomes your wife and therefore the queen.
Well... give me the pen already. I'll sign.
Gladys signed too, and the king left her to her task.
Well, now what?
Have I ever let you down, baby? Watch.
And true to his word, the little man spun a room full of gold.
Why, that's amazing.
I know. Now look, dear, our business ends right here. You are now rich and famous, so until your firstborn comes into the world, I bid you adieu.
My firstborn?
Just read the contract, my dear, the fine print right there.
So Gladys read the fine print, and there it said in black and white that her firstborn child must go to the little man. Well, about a year afterwards, a beautiful child was born to the king and queen.
Hello again. I have come for the child according to the contract.
What the little man didn't know was that in reading the fine print, Gladys had found the loophole.
I have found the loophole.
Oh, no, not the loophole.
Yes, quote, if the party of the first part, that's me, within 3 days discovers the name of the party of the second part, that's you, the party of the first part shall keep the party of the third part, that's him.
But that may not be as easy as you think. Go ahead, lay a name on me.
So Gladys laid a name on him.
Tom,
It was the wrong one.
Harry, Alfred, Dick, Bill, Lowry, Sam,
She spent all that day thinking of all the names she could, but none of them were right.
Oscar,
No,
Edward, Roger, Leon, Charlie, Theodore,
And the second day went as did the first, and as it ended,
Louis.
like
Gladys was in despair.
Oh,
Just then there was a knock,
come in.
and the door swung open to reveal a very round man dressed as a town crier.
Like, you don't know me, ma'am, but I've got to hip you to some news. Like the other day, I'm walking through this cool forest when, ma'am, what do I see but this little cat doing this Weirdsville routine? Like he's going...
Skoo-skoo-ba-doo, oobop-she-bam. I am the Rumpelstiltskin man. The king's got his gold, the queen's got her fame, and their baby will have my Rumpelstiltskin name.
Now, isn't that just too coo-coo?
Yeah, coo-coo.
So the next day, when the little man appeared again, the queen said,
Skoo-skoo-ba-doo, oo-bop-she-bam. You are the Rumpelstiltskin man, right?
Right. Oh, man, I really goofed.
and so Gladys and the king lived happily ever after, and Rumpelstiltskin was never seen in the kingdom again. There were several reports concerning a young girl who could make diamonds out of turnips. But of course that was in another kingdom, and you can't believe everything you read in the papers.
Private Bullwinkle, sir, with a message.
Just in time.
Is it important?
Is it? Just look. And now it's time for Bullwinkle's Corner.
Hello. Today's poem is Wee Willie Winkie. Wee Willie Winkie runs through the town, upstairs and downstairs, in his nightgown, peeping through the windows, crying through the lock. Are the children in their beds? For it's now 8 o'clock.
George, there's a prowler outside. Help! Police!
Uh-oh.
There he goes! Head him off! Hold it, you. Up against the wall. Okay, what's your name?
Wee Willie Winkie.
Hello, R&I. You got a mate and a mug named Winky?
Why the candle? You a firebug or something?
Sir, I am a moose.
Okay, Jack, into the wagon.
Look at that rock. That's just terrible.
How come?
Why, they spelled Bullwinkle with only one L.
And now it's time
For 5 or 6 baritone solos in the key of E.
But
Ooh.
now for another of our special features.
Should have tried E flat.
Hello there, Peabody here, and this is my boy, Sherman.
What great historical figure do we meet today, Mr. Peabody?
Today, Sherman, we visit one of England's most gallant gentlemen.
Really?
Raleigh, Sherman, Sir Walter Raleigh. Set the Wayback Machine for the year 1580.
And the place?
The court of Queen Elizabeth. Seconds later, Sherman and I were in a small antechamber just off the Queen's throne room, and there, gazing disconsolately out a window, was Sir Walter.
Oh, that my career should end on so sour a note.
What's wrong, Mr. Raleigh?
Who are you? The Queen's executioners?
We're tourists. What seems to be the problem?
Well, I am to appear before the Queen in exactly 1 hour and display the cargo I brought back from the American colonies.
And you expect Her Majesty to be dissatisfied?
Thoroughly.
Why?
Because the cargo is slightly waterlogged.
He pointed in the direction of the harbor, and there, riding well below her plimsoll line, was Raleigh's ship.
We no sooner tied at the dock than the barometer fell.
Oh?
Right through the floor. A nasty hole. Leaked badly.
Well, gee, Mr. Raleigh, if you explained what happened, wouldn't the Queen understand?
It's her boat.
Oh.
Perhaps if the cargo were raised, it might soothe her feelings. Besides, it may still be intact.
It may, but it would take a miracle to raise it within an hour. I have, you should excuse the expression, a dead line.
We rushed to the dock and surveyed the tragic scene. When does the tide go out?
It is out.
I see. Then we'll have to bring the cargo up. I suggest we hire a dozen or so divers.
A splendid suggestion, except that the divers in these parts are the laziest in the world. They're allergic to work.
I wonder if they're allergic to sport.
What?
I constructed a makeshift sign, secured it to the dock, and awaited results. A moment later... You see, Sir Walter, nothing attracts a fisherman like a no-fishing sign. Inside of a half hour, they were reeling in barrel after barrel.
28, 29, 30. They're all here. Quick, we just have time to take them to the Queen.
30 barrels, Sir Walter? A most profitable voyage.
Oh, thank you, Your Majesty. Of course, the journey wasn't entirely without incident. We had one small mishap.
Not now, Sir Walter. I should like to inspect the cargo. Ah, what have we here?
That should be tobacco, Your Majesty.
Oh, since when does one put fish in one's pipe?
I can explain. You see, an accident occurred when...
Later, Sir Walter. I must say I don't approve of your humor. And what does this barrel contain?
A deerskin dress made by the Indians especially for your highness.
Really? Don't you think it's a size too small?
Oh, good heavens, the seawater must have shrunk.
Enough! How dare you ridicule me? Guards, escort Sir Walter to the tower.
A moment, Your Grace.
What is it you want?
Only your patience. I think if you'll examine that last barrel, you'll find that Sir Walter brought back a rare treasure.
There's nothing in there but waterlogged candy.
If your highness would be so kind as to sample.
Oh, no. If she tastes that stuff, we'll all be beheaded.
Why, this candy is delightful. The most delicious I have ever tasted.
What?
Congratulations, Sir Walter. You have brought me a rich prize. Guards, release him.
You mean you like it?
I adore it. What is it?
Taffy, Your Majesty. Just taffy.
Salt water taffy, Sir Walter. Salt water taffy. The incident closed, Sherman and I returned to my penthouse apartment.
I sure am glad Sir Walter and the Queen got back on friendly terms.
Unfortunately, Sherman, that didn't last. Actually, from that day on, Sir Walter harbored a secret resentment against Queen Elizabeth.
Then how do you explain this picture, Mr. Peabody? Why did he spread this cloak in the mud for her?
He didn't spread his cloak for her, Sherman. He had just scrawled a nasty message in the mud, and it was the only way he could cover it up.
Really, Mr. Peabody?
No, Sherman. Raleigh.
Well, the big overland canoe race is on. Boris and Natasha, with a priceless mooseberry bush, are fleeing just a few miles ahead of Rocky and Bullwinkle in their remodeled Leaky airplane. Starting at Frostbite Falls, Minnesota, the two vessels race through a couple of the largest Great Lakes.
Stroke, stroke, stroke.
Bail, bail, bail!
Then, as they ran out of water, they carried their canoes on a portage through Chicago.
Which way to Fort Wayne?
That way.
Thanks! Oh, excuse me.
It's all right.
And a little while later, watchers of the Gold Cup powerboat race a couple of 100 miles away were awed when the number one speedboat was overtaken by not one, but two boats.
Stroke, stroke, stroke.
Bail, bail, bail!
Hold it, Bullwinkle!
Boy, that was close. Almost bailed out the captain.
How are we doing?
That leak's gaining on me. We better get where we're going in a hurry.
We will if the wind holds out.
Bail, bail, bail!
Stroke, stroke, stroke.
Boris,
Huh?
Boris, when is your half of paddling going to start?
Don't worry, I'll do my half. Now stroke, stroke, stroke.
A short time later, at the locks of the St. Lawrence Seaway, a bell rang to signal that a ship wanted to get through.
All right, but there ain't no ship there.
Stroke, stroke, stroke.
Say, a canoe full of Indians just went by here. I don't care if you believe it. I just saw...
Bail, 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 bail!
Never mind. This one I don't believe myself.
Soon the two vessels had run out of large bodies of water. They began to travel in small rivers or creeks, in irrigation ditches. Anywhere there was even a trace of water, they sailed on and on and on.
Stroke, stroke, stroke.
Bail, bail, bail! Sort of like riding on a soggy freeway, ain't it?
Crowds began to gather to watch them go by.
Here they come!
Stroke, 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 stroke.
Bail, 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 bail.
They went through city parks.
Stroke, stroke, stroke. Bail, bail, bail.
They went through amusement parks.
Have a nice ride, folks.
I sure did.
Stroke, stroke, stroke. Bail, bail, bail.
They even got through some places without carrying their boats.
Look out, Eddie!
Stroke, stroke, stroke. Bail, bail, bail.
And finally, on one foggy evening as they approached Washington, D.C., only a few yards separated them.
Stroke, stroke, stroke. Bail, bail, bail. Stroke, stroke. Bail, bail. Stroke. There's quite an echo. Bail.
Stroke.
Bail.
Stroke.
That's the first echo I ever heard that wrote its own dialogue.
Boris, when is your half of paddling going to start?
Any mile now, Natasha. Psh, I think they're right behind us.
Gee, it sure is foggy.
Yeah, can't see my nose in front of my face. Of course, that's quite a distance.
You hear that? It's the squirrel and moose. They mustn't catch us.
Just then, Boris's canoe bumped into a warning sign.
Straight ahead only, no left turn. Dangerous sawmill. Sawmill, eh? Now we play little word game with that sign.
What game is that?
You heard of Russian roulette?
Yes.
This is Russian Scrabble.
And so when our heroes came to the sign, they turned left toward the sawmill. And a moment later, the stillness was broken by a hideous sound. Have our friends really run into more than they can handle? Don't miss our next episode, 2 for the Ripsaw, or Goodbye, Mr. Chips.
Well, it looks as if our time is just about run out.
Just enough left to tell him who the sponsor was.
You got the credits, Bullwinkle?
All on this itty-bitty card. Oop.
We're late again, Bullwinkle.
Right.
Bye now. See you next time.